There's an African proverb that says, never trust a naked man who offers you a shirt. So what I'm going to do now in this part of the video is show you that I am not a naked man trying to offer you a shirt. Okay, so this was me at age 21, the moment that I became a landlord in the 5th most expensive city in the world. Before this, during the ages of about 16 to 20, I tried and failed at multiple businesses before in 2020, honestly by accident, applying what I'm about to try and share with you and teach you today. Now, as a result of applying these simple but effective principles, for the first time ever in my life, I hit my first 5-figure month. Whilst most of my age mates were leaving university, straddled with debt, struggling to get a job, and honestly going through a pretty hard time. Whereas honestly, from a financial perspective, I was in the best place of my life at this time. Now, if I was to go back in time and do it all again, this was the video that I wish someone would have shown me, as there was a lot of failures, a lot of mistakes, and honestly painful lessons that I made along the way. So remember, what I'm about to teach you today is not difficult. Literally, anyone can do it. But the reason why most people aren't rich or successful is firstly because most of this generation can't even sit through like a 10 or 15 minute video. And then those of you that can, unfortunately, will just store it as head knowledge and not actually mold or shape their life around what I'm trying to teach you today. So I hope you won't make the same mistake. Okay, so this is the first thing you're all going to need to understand. This is almost like your contents for what we're going to cover in today's lesson. But in essence, there are 3 quotants to making your first 5-figure month, or let's just say over £10,000 a month. Now, many of you are going to start off here in the I section. Some of you may even currently be in the B section, or you may have discovered the B section, and I reckon most of you watching this video are probably here to learn about this part here. As you can see, it's the main part of what we're doing today. And for very few of you, this E, which is just as important, is going to apply. But if you start off with the I and you don't get the B or the E, you fail. If you start off with the B and you don't understand the E or the I, you will fail. You need to understand all 3 parts of this quotient. And to be honest, in most cases, many of you are going to have to work up this. And at some stage in life, you may even have to work down this. So yeah, pay attention. So the I that you all saw earlier stands for identity, okay? And this can be broken down into 3 simple aspects. The first one being opinions/passions. The second one being skills, which is extremely important and I'll expand on later on. And the third one being character, which is also extremely important and I will expand on. Okay, so the things that you're now seeing on your screen are foundational if you want to make ridiculous amounts of money. And I don't even consider 10k a month ridiculous amounts of money, but it's a start to making ridiculous amounts of money. And I actually believe that the wealth divide isn't a thing about money, but it's actually a thing about mindset. Okay, and this is not pseudoscience, it's the truth. The only difference between you and someone that's making 10k, 100k, a million a month, so to speak, is they know something or they know things that you don't know. And so if you can start to learn those things and apply those things and mold your character around those things, it's only a matter of time before you start to make this kind of money. So character, put simply, relates to who are you? You know, are you a man or a mouse? Are you a woman or a squirrel? I don't know. Basically, who are you as a person? What do you stand for? What are your principles? What are your morals? Are you someone that's consistent? Are you disciplined? Do you work hard? If not, these are things that you have to address in your own time. This is not a video about these things. This is the foundation though, so I will express the importance of these things, but I'm not going to teach on them individually in this video. Who are you as a person? Very important question. A lot of people will lose themselves in the process. You don't want to do that. Also, something that should be mentioned here is that bad character is one of the biggest hindrances to you making money. I know it sounds pseudo and it sounds, I don't know, fugazi, but it's not. Everything to do with business and making money revolves around people, okay? People are the ones who literally are going to be paying you for whatever it is that's going to make you money. And so if you are a bad person, if you have bad character, people don't want to work with you. And if people don't want to work with you, you can't make money. Everything in this life revolves around people, and you need to be a good person. Even if you are a good person, yes, you can still be poor, but I promise you, if you are a good person, it's a lot easier to get rich. And so, character, that's the first thing. Second thing, and this one now is where I know your ears are going to start pricking up. What is it that you have that can generate value? That is simply what I would define as skills. Are these skills that you have low value, or are these skills that you have high value? Okay. And there is a big difference between the two. When it comes to making money, one of the key things is value, which ties directly into your skills. Now, unfortunately, what most people don't tell you, and you kind of figure out as life gets on, is yes, it's great to pursue passions and interests and follow your heart or follow your dream, but there are certain skills on paper that are simply going to be more valuable than others. And what determines this oftentimes is the demand and the people behind the demand. So for example, you can have someone that's, I don't know, a mechanic, and he can fix cars and he can make a good amount of money. But if you have someone who's a mechanic that specifically only works on supercars, because the people that buy supercars are going to be rich, the demand behind that industry belongs to wealthy people. And so that person with the same skill, just packaged differently or just directed differently, can make a hell of a lot more money. Why? Because it's not just about the skill that you know, it's about whether a skill is high value or low value. Something I want to mention here as well, and it segues nicely onto the final part about opinions and passions, is that you can have a good high value skill, but if you aren't passionate about it or if you don't enjoy it, there is a strong chance that you will end up being miserable. And so that's why this third thing, passions and opinions, also has a huge part to play, because you want to kind of try and strike a balance, okay, between what sort of skill that I have that is high value, that I actually enjoy doing or I'm actually passionate about, okay? You may have many skills, and I believe most people have many different skills and giftings. A passion is something that you're moved by, you're burned by. It pushes you, it drives you, it motivates you. No one has to drive you towards something that you're passionate or at least opinionated about. The very nature of you being passionate or opinionated about it moves you. And so because of that, you'll be able to provide value in a way that most people won't. And if you can marry that passion with a high value skill and your character is developed and it's solid, you will make a lot of money, or you will make a significant amount of money. This is the trifecta and the foundation behind what you need to make a significant amount of money, or to make your first 5-figure month, because I know that's the title that I'm using in this video. But these principles apply from 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures onwards. This is where you start, and you need to ask yourself these questions, look at these areas and review accordingly. I'm going to make videos about each of these, which, as I've already said, and I'm going to make videos that help people uncover each of these things, okay? So if you haven't, it's okay. Just take the time, figure it out. You will wish, honestly, you will wish that you took the time to figure these things out before then moving on to the next part of this video. Because these things, if you try to build a business without doing these things or knowing these things, you are cutting yourself in the foot and wasting a lot of time, which is what I did, and I don't want you to do. And if you're looking at this list right now and you're a bit concerned or you're struggling a bit, I want to say it's okay, because now you have the knowledge and you should have some self-realization to be able to go away from this and actively make some changes, you know? I think that most adults, especially those that aren't rich and even those that are rich, struggle with these 3 things. And so knowing who you are or your identity is foundational in this process. Right, now moving on to the big boy. So I'm going to tell you this principle and then I'm going to visually demonstrate to you how powerful it is, because I really wish that someone taught me this when I first started my very first business years ago. And just bear with me because I'm going to have to draw out a little bit. To explain this principle to you best, we're going to draw two axes for a graph. We're going to call this one knowledge, and we're going to call this one good old hard work, right? Whatever business that you choose to do, you need to commit to 4 months of learning and 8 months of burning, okay? Okay, so let's say you're like myself and you are someone that really does value knowledge, which is a great thing. And let's say that you started a business and now you chose to commit, I don't know, let's just say 6 months or even a year to learn everything you can do about this specific business, okay? And that's great, by the way. Let me just start by saying this is really not a bad thing. Knowledge to an extent is power, but knowledge isn't everything. And so what happens, and I've been in this position before, so I know very, very well what that's like, is you'll spend 6 months maybe obsessed, really learning everything you can do about a business that you're going to launch that relates to something that you're passionate about and that you know you can provide value or provide skill in this thing. And what happens is you are all the way up here on the knowledge scale, but you've barely started. So you spent maybe a year learning or 6 months learning, and you've now ran this business for a few months, and maybe it's not worked out as you've expected. And maybe, let's just say you're slightly more determined, slightly more persistent. You run the same business for another 4 months, and you put 4 months in of work after doing 6 months of learning, and you don't see any success. Let's even go further and say you make it to 6 months, okay, which is somewhere around here. Okay, you spend 6 months of your life fully working towards building a business, and you have all this knowledge, all this information, and yet it still doesn't work, because unfortunately knowledge alone isn't enough to succeed in a business, although it is a great start. Now, let's flip the table and go to the other point of view, which is someone that, I don't know, let's just say goes on TikTok and sees someone talking about Amazon FBA and thinks, right, tomorrow I'm going to start an Amazon FBA business. I'm going to watch this one YouTuber's video, maybe let's just say it's a half-an-hour video on Amazon FBA or whatever, and from the information they provided in that one video alone, I'm going to set up a company and I'm going to launch, okay? And they go and they run with this Amazon FBA business for maybe a year or 2 years, okay? They would end up somewhere here on the spectrum. Now, the craziest part about business is that, honest to God, you can be someone that isn't that knowledgeable about what you're involved in, and you can work hard and still get results. In the same way, you can be someone that is knowledgeable and maybe work less hard and still get results. Okay, business is a really funny thing. As you can see from this graph, these are not areas of success, okay? Your area of success looks something like this. Okay, now obviously this is not like the best drawing because the box should kind of be a little bit larger out to the right, but your area of success looks like that. Now what this is, and of course I'm not guaranteeing your success because no business is guaranteed to succeed. I'm not guaranteeing your success because no business is guaranteed to succeed, but I promise you that if you can get a balance of, okay, I'm going to learn and spend a solid 4 months, okay, learning everything I can do about this business. Now, if you are a slow learner, fine, 6 months, but for the average person, I would say if you really woke up every day and gave 4 months to learning this business, and then you said, right, for the next 8 months, I'm going to, again, every single day now, forget learning, forget the videos, forget the books, enough courses, I am going to run and really every day do something towards giving this business my all. You will end up somewhere here. Now, what is this box? I call this box the box of opportunity, okay? Because in business, really and truly, it's not the knowledge that allows you to succeed. It's not the hard work that will allow you to succeed, but but it's opportunity. It's the opportunity where you do something, you create something, you start something, and you have the right amount of knowledge and you put the right amount of work in and it blows up, okay? Let's just say, to keep the example going, you have an Amazon FBA business and you have the knowledge required to really research and find a good product, okay? And you've tested a bunch of products over the last year to know that, okay, this product should now work and achieve a huge amount of sales. If you do that and you present the market that opportunity, all of a sudden now you achieve success because you've done the research to find the right product and you've tested with products before for enough time to know that, okay, this is what the right product looks like. And so you marry the knowledge with the experience or the hard work, and that brings you into the box of opportunity to find that perfect product. And now what happens when you release or launch or push that perfect product? You make this beautiful thing that I always struggle to draw called money, okay? This box is where you have to be in business, okay? And this is why this graph, if I'm being honest with you, is why most businesses fail. And I know because I've had a lot of failed businesses, okay? And the difference between the businesses that have failed and the businesses that have succeeded literally is as a result of what I'm showing you here. I acquired the knowledge and I put in the work and I ended up, you know, somewhere here, or maybe in some instances here, or maybe in some instances here. Doesn't matter as long as you end up in that box. If you end up in that box by applying the principles that I'm teaching you, you will succeed, okay? And that principle that I'm trying to teach you is for any business that you start, at a bare minimum, you need 4 months of consistent learning and 8 months of consistent burning, okay? And don't be cheap. Don't cut shortcuts. Don't say, yeah, 4 months and I'm going to do, 1 hour on one day and then another hour the next week and then another hour the week afterwards. No, you need to commit time every single day and prioritize. So for the first 4 months, every single day, when you think of business, you think learning. Then after those 4 months, for the next 8 months, when you think of business, you think work, practical. What am I doing? What am I pushing? What am I creating? What value am I adding tangibly in this space? And be intentional, because as you can see from this graph, the harder you work, technically, the less you have to know. But in the same way, the more you know, the less you have to work. And so it really does come down to this principle. This diagram, if I'm being honest with you, is the reason why I think it's something like 90% of all businesses or 80% of all businesses don't even make it past 1 year, because most businesses don't get this principle. And I'll even tell you a secret, right? Because what happens is most people normally only fit onto one of two of these spectrums. They either know a lot and they don't work hard, or they work hard and they don't know enough to make that work effective. And so they never make it into the box of opportunity. They only make it to these outside areas. And so I'd say, even just looking at this graph, 80 to 90% of people never make it into that opportunity box, which is why for most people business is so hard. But in reality, I think it's simple. A lot of business, whether you like it or not, is a journey of self-realization. And I'd even say a journey of self-realization and a journey of also realizing what the market wants and the industry you're in, which I will touch on later. But I hope you can now see that learning this principle and understanding what I've shown you here already allows you to separate yourself from the 90% or the 80% whose businesses do not succeed. Now, obviously, the greater that you learn and the more time that you give, the more likely you are to succeed. There's one more thing that I wanted to say as well, and I will touch on this in a separate video, but this is just a little nugget to give you as well while you're here. Guys, girls, don't be cheap, okay? Ignorance is expensive. If you know you're going to start a business and there's someone who's making... Ooh. Okay, right. I don't know why the board just blanked there. Right. Okay, let's run that back. If you're going to start a business and you know that there's someone who is making £10,000 a month or £20,000 a month, basically someone who's seeing the results you want to see, and they are saying, and you know they're receiving the results that you want to see, they've tangibly proved it, and they are saying, hey, come and learn from me, come be mentored by me, do this, do that, or I have a program, buy it. Guys, don't be cheap. And I'm not saying this because I have a program. I don't have a program. I don't have any courses. I don't have any info products, and I don't charge people for mentoring at the moment. But if you think about it, right, this person has achieved success. This person has got themselves into that red box. And so by you not being cheap and by using your time, using your energy, and even if it's a financial resource, throwing it towards this person so that they teach you and that you learn from them, you literally have a blueprint as to what it takes to get into this box, okay? It's a lot easier to have someone that you know is in this box show you what they did to get into this box than you kind of stumbling around to figure it out yourself. Now, there is a chance, of course, without mentoring or without getting coached or being taught by someone, through your own hard work and knowledge, you can end up in this box. And I'm someone that has done that. But I'm telling you right now, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would tell my younger self, bro, don't do it yourself. Don't do it the hard way. Use your resource, use whatever skills and value and things that you have to go and learn from someone who has achieved this already or who is already in the red box. And I'm going to segue on to the final part of this video, which is going to be for people that are in this red box. And hopefully you, when you make it in this red box, you're going to need this next part that I'm going to talk about to show you how to maintain and sustain it. But I want to close this chapter off with a quote from David Goggins, and I'm paraphrasing, okay? I'm not a massive David Goggins fan, right? But he has this quote where he says, "It's so easy to succeed nowadays because so few people are willing to put in the work." And I say, personally, unless you've committed 8 to 12 months of daily consistent grind towards doing a business, then it doesn't count. That's not a business that you've really worked on and that you've really tried to build. That's just what I say. And so just remember that when you see this and as you are applying this to whatever business you're trying to build.
It's about drive, it's about power, we stay hungry, we do that, we put in the work, put in the hours and take what's up. Like it's a mo in my veins, my culture bang.